Knock 2 Studios presents Common Censored.
Scatman's beep bop 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 bo. Well, check this out. We have Joe Biden doing it.
I'm a Scotland.
We all know he's a different kind of scat man, though. Welcome back to Common Censored, guys. It is Wednesday, also known as
Hump Day.
and I'm Lord Sterling. Dre is occupied with some business stuff going on, some work stuff. So I don't think we'll be seeing him tonight. But he's welcome to pop in if things resolve themselves, as he knows. So fingers crossed, everybody. Fingers crossed. What's up to the chat? Sam D, Cora Davis, Sam Duty, sorry, Cora Davis, Flustercluck, Ed Hoskins, Ron, PM3, Crazy B. What's up, everybody? Welcome, welcome. Thanks for being here. Valentine Patriot, salute. What's up, dude? Good to see you over on YouTube in the house. Ooh, as always, crazy news days. All kinds of crazy stuff going on. We have the chair of the Arizona GOP, Jeff DeWitt, resigning as a result of the tape that came out, the bribery tape. Jeff DeWitt resigns as Arizona Republican Party chair after audio tape of him attempting to bribe KARI Lake surfaces, claims the tape was selectively edited, and says there is an even more damaging recording. So which is it? It was selectively edited just to show the least damaging stuff. That's not the way that selectively edited is typically employed semantically. Yeah, resign. Exactly, Cora Davis. Yeah, and boom, he's gone. KARI Lake, she just glows. It's amazing. It's not like she's using a filter all the time with the other people, but she just always seems to glow. It's crazy. They're going to have to fucking kill me to stop me, KARI Lake told Jeff DeWitt when he attempted to bribe her. And that was not a very good KARI Lake impression. I apologize for that, KARI. Didn't mean to make you sound like some kind of goblin demon creature. Arizona GOP chairman Rhino Jeff DeWitt announced on Wednesday that he will resign from his position over a leaked audio recording of him attempting to bribe KARI Lake out of fighting against Arizona's rigged elections and running for office in 2024. And so finally something good happens. See, if you got to come out with this stuff and expose these people and force them, make shame great again, force them back into the out of the light, basically. I mean, we want them in the light, but we don't want them in positions of power under the spotlight. Keep them in the light, but not under the spotlight. He used the opportunity to attack Lake and play the victim card. Total snake. I got straight sociopath vibes out of that video from that guy. I'm not going to lie. Allegedly. I'm not saying he's a sociopath. What's up, Omega Directive? Curious if his car goes Ace Rothstein. I mean, he did talk about, Valentine, good call. Thank you for jumping over to where we all float, where the water is warm, relegated off the sides of the beaten path, like the sewer in It. But all the fun people are hanging out down here, where free speech is allowed, and you don't have to follow the prima facie laws of the fascist book and poo tube and all that. Getting a little sidetracked here. So yeah, this guy on the video yesterday was totally sleazy, speaking out of both sides of his mouth. And I remember where I was going with that. Disclaimer: views expressed on Common Censored are only opinions. Do not assume anything we say is true, and research for yourself. We're not giving medical, legal, or financial advice. And the only advice we are giving is to think for yourself. Question authority. Think for yourself. question authority. So he's over here attacking Kari Lake and playing the victim card as if he wasn't straight up victimizing her, claiming she cannot be trusted to engage in private and confidential conversations. Neither can you, because when you're in a private and confidential conversation, you're violating somebody's rights and manipulating them. I mean, technically, he was only making the offer, but there was an implied threat, in my opinion. And yeah, he then represented himself as an innocent person in a, quote, unpaid role that demands the amount of time of roughly 2 full-time jobs. Oh, yeah, non sequitur. That's a nice logical fallacy to add into your argument. It's so ridiculous. Just divert, distract, play the victim. It's the typical lefty playbook. As the Gateway pundit reported on Tuesday, a newly leaked audio recording proves that Rhino, Arizona GOP chairman Jeff DeWitt, an agent of the Uniparty, asked Lake to, quote, take a pause and step aside from politics for 2 years while offering her a job on behalf of people from back east, telling her to make her own offer. Just, oh, come on, if anything, I just want a counteroffer, just a counteroffer. Just let me record you on audio, making a bribe amount. Kari Lake did not fall for it. She obviously didn't trust this guy, went into the meeting recording. Good for her. We need people doing this. She basically went, O'Keefe Media Group. She went #OMG on him and went in there and got him on tape saying all the quiet parts out loud. That's right. We're coming for you. Everybody's got a recording device on them nowadays. All you bastards trying to do this in the background. The O'Keefe model is spreading into politicians at this point with Kari Lake setting a great example. We need other people to step up and record these some bitches that are trying to pull these shenanigans, this malarkey on the honest patriots and people in this country. However, Kari Lake retorted, they're going to have to kill me to stop me. Like a true G. In the statement resigning, DeWitt accuses Kari Lake of releasing a selectively edited audio recording of our private conversation, calling it a, quote, deceptive tactic. And you could tell they were in the same room based on the the acoustics of the environment, and there was directionality of the sound. Like his dynamics were changing. You could tell he was coming closer, moving further away. With the static room environment, it would be easy to splice and fade to make it seem like a continuous recording. But I mean, he's not denying that any of it was real. And even if it was selectively edited, there's no context that could fix any of that. So, yeah. So let's continue. This is the same excuse he used when an audio tape of DeWitt declaring that he is, quote, off the Trump train and supporting Ron DeSantis. This is failed presidential campaign surfaced. The Gateway pundit reported on the tape, and DeWitt claims that it was fake or chopped up. So he's had audio tapes come out before, and he still didn't learn his lesson. You just can't be wheeling and dealing like this. It's not in 2024. I mean, like, morally, not ever, but nowadays, like, you could rob a bank or something in the 20s and there wasn't a video camera on every corner. You could go out of town, change a couple details of your name and address, basically, and you'd never be found, odds are. But with the advanced technology that we've built and developed and placed all around us, everything is a surveillance grid. Everything's listening. You're from your cell phone to your washing machine to your Amazon Alexa to your Google Echo. There's been instances where Alexa listened to people having sex, for instance, and recorded it. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Alexa listens to users having sex, report says. You are always under surveillance. There were reports that the Xbox Connect could look through walls back in like 2014 when that was coming out. around that time, maybe even earlier than that. Yeah, probably early. I don't know. I don't remember exactly when it was. Let's see if we can find anything on that. Xbox Connect looks through walls. Here we go. MIT's Connect of the future looks through walls with X-ray vision. Oh, so maybe this was something else. I don't know. It's using the same type of shit as Connect. That's the important part. Where were we? Gateway pundit. Okay, back to it. In the statement, he calls it a deceptive tactic, and he tries to distance himself from his own remarks, telling the Gateway pundit back in terms of the DeSantis tape that he was lying to the person in the recording. Yeah, they caught me saying it behind closed doors, with my guard down, but I was just lying about it. DeWitt also told Kari Lake, "I'm not sure Trump can win again," which is what plan. Like, the only way he can't win is if they're, screwing with the election. Good question, Cora Davis. Is DeWitt suicidal? He said that if he, he wouldn't go public with this type of stuff because he didn't want to turn the key in his car and have it go boom. Simultaneously, Kari Lake saying, "Well, they're going to try to murder me," and he's like, "No, I don't think they would do that." The same, believing himself internally that they would kill him if he came out with it. Threeper, welcome to the chat. Good to see you. Valentine Patriot knows what's up. Replying to Cora Davis in the chat with the the emojis to describe the car getting blown up. That was pretty slick, dude. Here we go. I'll pull it up on screen. It takes a couple seconds because Rumble isn't connected to StreamYard through their high-tech interface. I have to manually connect, and then I got to copy and paste all of the comments over when I share from Rumble. Tammy Wilkstrom. Yeah, welcome back. Good to see you. Plus, yeah, he resigned today. Boom. Kari Lake coming out with the truth. This is the power that truth has. They say the pen is mightier than the sword. You could also, take off the S and say the word is mightier than the sword. In this case, we've had his words recorded, made public, and now he's seppuku, committing seppuku to get out of his position, resigning. He continues, "I think what it comes down to for a lot of people, it's not about like control or agenda. It's just about the ability to raise money and win, and even on their end, what makes them the most money." So, yeah, these people are puppets dancing for money to the big banks and these corporations that are connected to them, and with get their special, subsidies and benefits in collusion with the government and the banks, to build these monopolies and make these people super rich, that in ways that the free market would not be able to do, through fascism. This is a fascist system. It's not a capitalist system. Drives me crazy when I hear people say, "Oh, capitalism made these big corporations." No. The government, working in collusion with industry and offering subsidies and benefits to certain companies while stifling others with regulations, intentionally driving economic activity towards these giant companies and giving them market advantages over decades. That's what did it. And like we saw a perfect example of this in a condensed format during the lockdowns. They shut down all the mom and pop businesses and funneled everybody through the big box stores like Walmart and Target and all these these big companies. And think about it, it's the exact opposite thing that you would want to do if you actually wanted to combat or prevent the spread of a virus. You want people away from each other. You don't want to force everybody through the same doors into the same building, bringing all the potential virus carriers to the same location. So then it gets breathed out, and all these people that are forced to come in there are breathing it. It makes no sense. They increase the odds of viral spread by forcing people into these singular locations while simultaneously, so they're increasing the public danger while simultaneously driving tons of money into these corporations to massively increase their profits and centralize the economy. That's right, Tammy. We will need to remember to check on him. Mainstream media will not be doing it. That is 100% right. Ron, PM3, welcome to the chat. Oh, were you here at the start? Yeah, you were. I saw Threeper saying, hey, yeah, welcome everybody, all the new listeners. Thank you for being here. Yeah, back to DeWitt, this total clown. At one point, he appears to ask Kari Lake to name a price at which she can be bought. That way, that'd be a way to even before they ink the deal, just to get her in on the criminality, to have something to hold over her head. Luckily, she did not take the bait. This is not about money. This is about our country. There are some things that are more important than money, more important than any of us individually. That doesn't mean that our rights can be taken away to preserve them, but it means, in a collectivist system. But the idea of 1776, of a republic where government exists solely to protect the rights of the individual as opposed to dominate and be tyrannical over them, it's the first time in recorded history that that's happened. This is the most important system, and we've lost it, unfortunately, at this point. But we got to experience it for a little bit, and we can get it back. But certain things are more important than any of us individually, and you shouldn't be able to be bought or be bribed. This is our legacy, the legacy of our forefathers, freedom, the single bastion of liberty on earth. This is the last stand of freedom. And so while individual liberty is the most important thing that this is all based on, but a lot of us, we're going to have to make sacrifices to protect it. And, because it's more important than us, and we need to recognize that and use our individual liberty to preserve it. So this is Operation Victory 2024. Share the broadcast, share your content creators, share these news articles. We need to spread the word about all this, because we cannot lose 2024. Otherwise, it's finito for the Republic. So this is the Second American Revolution. Be a part of it, to quote Ron Paul's 2008 campaign. The revolution, be a part of it. It's now or never. This is the most important, dire time for our republic. However, now DeWitt claims the statements were taken out of context, and it gets worse. According to DeWitt, he said he's resigning because he faces the possible release of a new, more damaging recording, as if the bribery scandal wasn't already so damning to his reputation and integrity. So he's saying there's something even worse on him that's out there. He could have just slunk away, and said, oh, because of this, I'm resigning. But he's like, well, this tape came out and that's bad, but in reality, I've done even worse stuff, and there's more evidence of that out there as well. So I'm going to bail before that comes out. He could very poor choice of words, Batman. He basically admitted to doing even worse shit. It's hilarious. You didn't have to do that. You could have just resigned. That's right, Cora Davis. Kari is America first. Oh, man. Gargamel. It sounds familiar. I don't know what that is. The statement concludes, this is all such a distraction to that mission that I am doing as Miss Lake wishes. This is all such a distraction to that mission that I am doing as Miss Kari Lake wishes, and am stepping down as chairman of the Arizona Republican Party. I don't know if that's just a bad quote or if a bad transcription, but that's a confusing sentence. The tape speaks for itself. The Arizona GOP chairman, Jeff DeWitt, attempted to bribe Kari Lake. Thankfully, Kari is an extremely ethical person who rejected DeWitt's multiple attempts to offer her money and corporate board seats in exchange for Kari not running for public office. She will be an incredible senator for Arizonans. No one from the Kari Lake campaign threatened or blackmailed DeWitt. It is unfortunate that DeWitt hasn't recognized how unethical his behavior was and still hasn't apologized. to Arizona Republicans. Well, psychopaths or sociopaths, they don't feel empathy and they don't understand that what they're doing is morally wrong. And they're like chameleons that go around pretending to be humans. Hence the reptilian analogy or claims that are used. The way that our brains are, the oldest part of our brains is the reptilian brain, the inner area before the cerebral cortex and everything evolved to exist. So when I think of reptilians, well, there may be like reptilian hybrid shape-shifting alien creatures that are in positions of power or ruling over them. I think of it more in terms of these people are just dominated by the reptilian brain, by lust and greed and the desire for power and to dominate. And so they're definitely reptilians in that sense. And it seems like this dude, Jeff DeWitt, is one of them. Make sure to scour all the video footage of him to see if his eyes blink sideways. He should reveal who sent him to bribe Kari Lake if he wants redemption. Gateway Pundit writes, forget the who. Let me just tell you what, says DeWitt in the damning audio recording. That was one of the creepiest parts of that. Like, don't worry about who it is. Let's just talk about the idea. Mad creepy. That was a really, really creepy recording for sure. Kari Lake, much respect to Kari Lake. Always be recording, people. Always be recording and always be behaving. Because there's stuff like this going on, and then there's stuff like Representative from Tennessee, Timothy Burchett. Remember with the whole thing he was talking about where there's a pretty girl that shows up at a bar, right? And suddenly you find yourself naked in a hotel room and there's photos and someone's like, oh, well, you definitely shouldn't vote against the new FBI building or tapes are going to come out on you, buddy. Like Madison Cawthorn said and got booted from the system and primaried for telling the truth when he's saying, you grow up idolizing some of these people fighting against drugs, and then you see them do a key bump of cocaine before they walk on stage, getting invited to orgies and this is how the system works. The blackmail and bribing, they print money out of thin air and use it to bribe people. They entice people with lust and get them on video and trap them using regular sex or even child sex, as we know from like the Epstein stuff as well. There's so many tentacles that they attack. You just have to always be recording and always be behaving. That's the mantra. Benny Johnson says it's time for him to name names as well. I got to agree. We need some names on this, but it's good to know that at least he is out. Let's jump over to our next story. Over at Zero Hedge, Reid Hoffman pulls out of Nikki Haley. Is that a pun? Did they write that way on purpose? Pulls out of the Nikki Haley campaign after New Hampshire pounding. That this whole title is laced with double entendres. That is freaking hilarious. Hilarious. Valentine Patriot, I wonder who leaked the tape. Did they ever say? I don't know. It was like who? Daily Caller or somebody leaked it. JJ Von Pepe says he thinks Kari did. I don't know. I didn't see that specified. And yeah, JJ Von Pepe, super glad she was recording. Valentine Patriot, it would have to be Kari, right? With the the monocle emoji. It could be, or she could have shared it with her team members and somehow it got out. She could have leaked it, pretending it was a third party to keep her name out. Well, I didn't leak the private conversation. JJ Von Pepe, unfortunately, she said she didn't want to be VP. Yeah, I think that's smart. We need her on the state level like we need Ron DeSantis on the state level for now. Why take somebody who's in a position to potentially be doing something really good in their state out? Vivek hasn't been running for state office, for instance, so he'd be a good VP. Tucker would be a good VP because he's not in the process of making another state great again as well. Kari Lake can hang out in Arizona and do her thing over there for a bit. I think, yeah, that's right, Valentine Patriot, who says, I think we need her in the Senate. Yeah, that would be good, because we can't centralize all of our resources, put all of our eggs in one basket, at the federal, at a DC national level. We need our champions dispersed in a way that's balancing state power with federal power as well. Vivek needs to run for governor of Ohio. Cora Davis. Yeah, that would be interesting. That's where he can prove himself, she says. That's true. That's true. He could do a real good job as a governor, as a trial run for his presidency. I agree. 1,000%, Cora. That would be really interesting to see. I wouldn't rule it out. I definitely would not rule it out. So, following Tuesday's massive loss to Donald Trump in the New Hampshire primary, Republican candidate Nikki Haley has lost a major Democrat source of support. Billionaire hoax funding LinkedIn founder Reid Hoffman. He's a big Democrat donor. So interesting that the Dems are voting for Tricky Nikki, and that she's got the Democrat voters coming out voting for her. Like, even in New Hampshire, there were exit polls or entrance polls, one of the two, that were sort of categorizing the different supporters for different candidates, and Trump had like a huge percent of Republicans and like a smaller percentage of independents. And Nikki Haley had a huge percent of independents, because it was all these people jumping over to register independent, so they didn't have to, switching from Democrat, but they didn't want to register Republican, so they just registered independent, and then voting on the Republican primary. So she had a huge percentage of independents, all these Dem voters, and very small, relatively, compared to Trump, percentage of actual Republicans. She's just boosting her number. It's so dirty. Like, it's so dirty. Nikki is a dirty girl. As Reid Hoffman pulls out after the New Hampshire pounding. Sorry, I couldn't resist. According to CNBC, Hoffman gave $250K to a pro-Haley super PAC last year, but has no immediate plans to help her again. So the only reason this is even possible is because of the super PAC. That's one thing that Vivek talks about that I like as well, reining in super PACs, making it so that any individual, they, on one hand, they're like, corporations are people, but then on the other hand, they're like, whoa, corporations should be able to donate hundreds of millions of dollars to super PACs. And how about an individual gets the maximum donation amount that's allowed, and a corporation has to follow the same rules. And a super PAC would be a corporation that's donating directly to the benefit of the candidate. So super PACs shouldn't exist, because they should be limited to it's donations in kind. Like, it's clearly just a donation to the campaign. So yeah, I like that whole narrative of dealing with the super PACs as a way to make it really the will of the people again, because the more people that donate to a candidate, the more the candidates will be able to fundraise, and they won't have to be just focusing on selling out their souls or or their whatever to the big money donors. Hoffman, suffering from a severe case of Trump derangement syndrome, TDS, which is a real thing, a big real thing. Rhino, Vermont Governor Phil Scott endorsed Nikki, JJ Von Pepe. Interesting. Good to know. Write that guy off. Don't vote for him in the future. Hoffman wrote in December that while he supports Joe Biden, he thought that Haley had the best chance of beating Trump in the Republican primary. So even though you're a Democrat, just meddle with the Republicans. Thanks, bro. We appreciate it. Quote, if America is to avoid another Trump presidency, it will be because Trump loses an election next year. If he is to lose, it will either be to Nikki Haley in the primary or Joe Biden in the general, he wrote on LinkedIn, noting that he gave to Haley's super PAC after listening to JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon speak at the Deal Book conference in support of Haley. So Jamie Dimon, is supporting Haley, but he also was at least defending Trump the other day. Remember, was it over at the WEF or something? I don't remember exactly the context. I just remember that was surprising to see. That calculus for Hoffman appears to have changed as Haley lost the Iowa caucus and New Hampshire primary to Trump, but she's not dropping out. She said, there's still dozens of states left. Like, are you out of your mind? Do you think your donors are just going to keep funding this dead end candidacy, just costing millions and millions of dollars for all these different states? She's not even participating in the Nevada caucus. She's orchestrated that whole other fake primary on February 6th, as Kash Patel was showing the other day. So she's ignoring the caucus completely and just rolling with this fake false election where they're sending out these ballots to everybody in Nevada, and they don't even have Trump on them. Remember I showed Kash messing around with that yesterday. Super insane. So Haley's donors are bailing. Hold on, I gotta grab the tweet. Come on, tweet. What are you doing, tweet? You're going all over the place, chewing on things. Let's jump ahead to our next topic. Crazed New York Attorney General Letitia James pushes for total Trump ban from real estate industry in the latest court filing. JJ Von Pepe. Hoffman looks like he smells bad. Yeah. Oh shit, Cora Davis says, there was another train derailment near Dayton, Ohio, carrying ethanol. Don't know if anything was leaked. That is crazy. Keep us updated if you find any pertinent information on that. Feel free to post it. We can cover it. Right in the chat, you can post it, and I'll try to find it. Ohio, Valentine Patriot. I feel for Ohioans. They get looked over when they need to be looked at the most. Yeah, we're more worried about Palestine than East Palestine, Ohio, which is madness. Definitely need to fix that. So, Letitia James is trying to get Trump banned from real estate entirely. Radical Marxist New York Attorney General Letitia James pushed for President Trump to be banned from the real estate industry in a Tuesday court filing. Christina Layla is writing this for the Gateway Pundit. Letitia James is seeking $370 million in damages when there is no victim in this fraud case. And she is also seeking to ban Trump and his sons from operating any businesses in New York. She accused Trump of inflating his assets and defrauding lenders and insurance companies. We saw Mr. Wonderful, Kevin, whatever his name is, from Shark Tank, saying this is just how the real estate industry works. Property developers, they try to appraise their properties in the best possible light to get the most value out of them. And if somebody's willing to pay that because they see the value, then that's how much it's worth. And there's no definitive, objective way to nail down the value of something like a piece of property. It depends where it's located, what's around it, the property itself. There are so many different factors that can be relevant to determining the price, but it really all it comes down to is how much somebody is willing to pay for that. Like an auction, basically. That's what the free market is, bartering and the fluctuation of supply and demand. Auctions are a great microcosm of that, where there's one of something and people can bid on it, and the supply is one and the demand leads to the price. And you can see it happen right in front of you. And that's how real estate works, basically, is that prices are negotiable and it's settled and determined when two parties agree on a selling price. So James originally sought $250 million in damages from Trump. In addition to increasing the amount of, quote, damages she wants Trump to pay, Letitia James is seeking a lifetime ban for him from from the real estate industry. This is the same thing. It's the whole purpose of like the Sandy Hook case with Alex Jones. They were just trying to, and the lawyers in Connecticut, as far as I remember, admitted as much, where they basically said they just don't want him to continue broadcasting. They're just trying to end InfoWars. So just as expected from Letitia James, we got some, I think it was JJ Von Pepe. Yeah, thanks, brother. In the chat, some information about the train. This is the Columbus Dispatch writing this. Train carrying ethanol derails in Greenville, Ohio. No leaks reported, so that's good, Cora. A train carrying ethanol derailed Tuesday afternoon in a small Ohio town near the Indiana border, according to Greenville fire officials. Officials received word shortly after noon Tuesday that 5 train cars total jumped the tracks shortly after leaving the Anderson's ethanol plant located in southeast Greenville, a town located 40 miles northwest of Dayton, give or take. So 5 train cars. That's a pretty small derailment, relatively speaking. Glad that nothing has leaked reportedly so far. Thanks to the 37 people who are joining us in Rumble and the 8 on YouTube. We're going to be jumping over to Rumble exclusively pretty soon. So prepare yourself for that, guys, on YouTube. I'll give you the link in the chat right now just so you have it, so you can jump over to Rumble when we bail on YouTube. Let's jump back over to Letitia James, if I can find link. Let's see. Sorry, I got so many tabs open here. I jump to one, lose another one. Okay. Where were we? She's trying to ban him for life. In November, a Deutsche Bank executive who worked to approve at least one of Trump's loans testified that it is, quote, atypical, but not entirely unusual, to reduce a client's asset values and still approve a loan. This type of lending is typical in high net worth, high profile clients like Donald Trump. They basically said that they were going to give him the loan regardless because they wanted all the business that he would bring in. So they were willing to pay, or give him a really good deal because they knew that having him involved would bring in additional clients. It's kind of like how the manufacturers of the goldback, the privately created barter currency, it's like how the manufacturers of the goldback make the one goldback bill at a loss. It costs them more to make it than it's worth, and because they make more money from the larger ones. It costs the same roughly to make a 50 as it does to make a 1, but there's a lot more value in a 50 than there is a 1, 50 times as much. So you're taking a loss with Trump or with the $1 bill, but then you're gaining a lot more with all of the additional companions that are going to be involved. So that's basically what's going on with that. Goldback.com. Check out Goldbacks if you want to protect your savings. Get out of dollars and consider investing your savings in precious metals. It's like insurance basically for your money, because gold and silver stay valuable. They maintain their value regardless of the fluctuations of paper currency. But I know I'm preaching to the choir here. Trump called the prosecution, quote, election interference at the highest level. And as we all know, that is completely accurate. Let's move to another story. This is Robert Jonathan from the Western Journal. Sorry, I switched the page by accident. One sec, guys. Technical user error difficulties. Former Obama advisor says Biden should, quote, stay hidden. There's something wrong. And it's none other than Trump deranged racist Van Jones, allegedly. Pop the allegedly up. In my opinion, this guy is super, ultra reprehensibly racist. CNN commentator and scumbag Van Jones is publicly recommending that, quote, uninspiring, fragile Joe Biden should lock down in his basement during the 2024 election cycle during an establishment media roundtable on the ratings challenged news channel, the subtext of which was liberal anxiety over a second Donald Trump presidency. The former Obama administration, quote, green jobs czar suggested that Biden should default back to his limited carbon footprint 2020 campaign strategy. Instead, he should let acolytes do the talking. If I were Biden, I would stay hidden, and I'll tell you why. V says he doesn't inspire confidence, and he's not a great messenger for himself, Van Jones said on Tuesday night when the panel was metaphorical hand-wringing over Trump's New Hampshire primary win. Awkward prose there. In a departure from reality, Jones went on to praise Biden's handling of the economy. This despite the ongoing cost of living crisis in America prompted by Democrats' big spending legislation and hostility to domestic energy independence. Let's check out the video.
If I were Biden, I would stay hidden, and I'll tell you why.
If I were you, I'd stay hidden.
Doesn't
bro.
inspire confidence, and he's not a great messenger for himself.
You're not a great messenger for reality. So we got clowns doing clown stuff. Big shocker, right? Big shocker. How about this story? California judge rules woman who stabbed boyfriend 108 times while high will avoid prison, citing she had no control over her actions. So this woman was merely taking cannabis and stabbed her boyfriend 108 times. If you're drunk driving and you kill somebody, do you go to jail? You know, if are substances suddenly an excuse to do whatever you want and get off scot-free? A California woman, Bryn Spedger, and this is Jim Hoft writing, who was convicted of fatally stabbing her boyfriend 108 times in a cannabis-induced psychotic episode, received a sentence of probation instead of prison time. I could understand people selling drugs getting probation. Nobody's making you buy drugs. But if you're actually violating some, and we all have the individual right to choose what we put into our bodies. I've discussed how the drug war before is unconstitutional on its face, and in organizations like Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, who have subsequently been co-opted, had the stats to show that counterintuitively, drug legalization actually would result in fewer deaths, hypothetically, and fewer criminals and more safety. But that's an aside. The controversial ruling in this case came after a jury previously found her guilty in December for the involuntary manslaughter that occurred under the influence of a psychotic episode, which both prosecution and defense experts linked to the consumption of cannabis. It's interesting. There is a certain rate at which individuals will have sort of late onset psychosis that occurs typically in the late teens, early 20s, I believe. And I think that cannabis can be something that triggers that. So maybe there is a little bit more than meets the eye going on here. There could have been a legitimate psychotic episode. Schizophrenia, late onset schizophrenia. It sucks when it happens. Apparently, as my sister discovered in research at Connecticut College, cocaine can actually alleviate symptoms of schizophrenia. Well, at the same time, if you're schizophrenic and you take cocaine, it can alleviate the symptoms and level you out. But if you're not schizophrenic and you take cocaine, it can cause those symptoms, which is a pretty interesting dichotomy of opposites that can occur. I thought that was pretty neat when she found that out. So on Tuesday, the 33-year-old audiologist was sentenced to 2 years probation and ordered to complete 100 hours of community service after being found guilty of the involuntary manslaughter of her boyfriend, Ventura County Star reported. The victim, 26-year-old Chad O'Melia of Thousand Oaks, that's a nice area, isn't it? Was killed in the early hours of May 2018 after what witnesses described as a voluntary marijuana use turned into a violent tragedy. So that's one of the few times in history that cannabis has caused somebody to actually get more violent. Like who is it? Bill Hicks talking about drugs. Was he like when you go to a baseball game and you see somebody who's acting wild and out of control and violent, are they on weed or are they on alcohol? Alcohol. If you see somebody driving all crazy, typically alcohol. Where if driving on cannabis, you're like paranoid driving slow, right? There is a documentary called Grass, which is pretty good, that covers the history of cannabis in detail and the smear campaign that was run on the behalf of paper, oil, and cotton. I talked about that a bit yesterday, but some of the propaganda that they used to show back in the day, trying to demonize cannabis, showed people like losing their minds, like smoking joints and just becoming criminally insane. They lie about everything. So why would we suspect that they would ever tell us the truth? Look at that. Oh man, that's hilarious. There's a chick playing the piano. It's from a propaganda film from back in the day, Reefer Madness. Reefer Madness piano scene. Here we go. Check this out.
Come on, darling. Everything will be over soon.
Ron, PM3. There's synthetic
You want me to play something for you?
cannabinoids like spice.
Yeah, that's it.
That can cause this type of thing as well, I believe, allegedly. Keep the allegedly up for now. So he's smoking and she's playing.
Honey, give me a smoke, will you?
I watched his intensity increase as she starts to play more dramatically. Faster, faster.
Play faster. Faster.
Yeah, really good documentary, Grass. Check it out. Exposes all the lies in regards to that, and to talk about a lot of the Reefer Madness. That's right, Reefer. Talk about a lot of the good things that can be done with cannabis. The industrial hemp side of it, for instance, which has also been outlawed, even though it has very low, virtually non-existent THC levels. But like we saw yesterday with Alex Jones talking about it, I think the founders were growing cannabis en masse. Oh, it was that group at SHOT Show, I think, talking about the Second Amendment Foundation's lawsuit. Saying that the medical marijuana permits are like a trap for gun owners to sign up, and then basically, since cannabis is still federally illegal, to have your guns taken away. So definitely avoid that trap. Don't do that. And like we talked about, they don't have the right to be enforcing any of this stuff anyway. So yeah, we had a psychotic episode, potentially cannabis induced, with a woman stabbing her boyfriend 108 times. Man, imagine that, like having a psychotic episode and snapping out of it and realizing, holy crap, I just killed somebody that I love. That'd be horrible. Assuming that that's actually what happened. If that's what happened, then, she needs mental help. Sign her up for that. Let's see what do we got next. We have European countries. Whoop. Hold on, guys. European countries, Germany, France, Romania, Poland, Lithuania, farmers all over Europe taking a stand against crippling green policies. Remember months ago, we talked about Holland trying to outlaw, to shut down over 3,000 farms, which is bananas, just openly shutting down the food production, causing the starvation in third world countries that import a lot of food, and causing the circumstances that are resulting in mass migration, which they're funding as well. So they're taking away your food, making the migrants, and then funding the migrants to come here to destroy us while they take away all the food as well. So attacks from multiple angles that only make each other worse, decreasing the supply while increasing the demand. This is madness. This is completely madness, calculated centrally for maximum damage. So it's good that we see farmers all over Europe taking a stand. Population control, exactly. Millions died of starvation as a result of the supply chain breakdowns resulting from COVID lockdowns, something that I predicted at the time because it was obvious to see, just like hyperinflation lurking ominously. And the podcast that I was on at the time, the guy was like, "That's ridiculous. You're just imagining crazy things." I know. Lots of people died in the third world because of the lack of availability of food. So just stay in your little lefty bubble over there and disconnect yourself from reality as much as possible. These people are out of their minds. It's like they don't realize that everything's connected, Anyway, this is Paul Sarin writing at Gateway Pundit. The European continent is in turmoil, plagued by a multitude of self-inflicted maladies coming from the insane, failed globalist policies pushed by the EU. So yeah, they're banning farms while simultaneously keeping the borders open and allowing unchecked mass migration. There's also unemployment, economic stagnation, trans's madness, and of course the crippling climate alarmist green regulations. Using the allegations of climate change to shut down industry as well. So they're taking away the food, they're shutting down the power production while simultaneously increasing the demand by letting migrants just flood over the borders. A recipe for disaster. Classic Cloward and Piven. This is exactly what we're seeing. Overstress the system with bringing tons of people in, weaken it, and smash it, and then rebuild in whatever image you want as a result. This is the tactic of the Great Reset, using the Cloward-Piven strategy developed by husband and wife professor duos at Columbia University. I just ask Paul, what's his face? Wayne Allen. I can't remember his name right now. Sorry. Wayne Allen Root. I don't know where Paul came from. Which made me think of American Psycho, though. Hey, Paul, with the axe. European. Let's see, where were we? Perhaps no other sector of the economy was more impacted by the green lunacy than agriculture. Yeah, which is madness. Cow farts, people. You can't have cow farts. We all got to die because of cow farts. European farmers, as in one voice, say that the green policies and taxes are taking them to the very edge of bankruptcy in what becomes, in all practical terms, a, quote, manufactured famine, which is exactly what it is. This is all being manufactured. This is artificial stress that's being imposed intentionally by the controllers to weaken the system. That's right. Freaky deaky Dutch. Omega Directive. Was that Gold member who said that? I like gold. I like gold too. What were they trying to tell us? So the protests have sprung up all over Europe ahead of the EU elections in June, with the agricultural workers demanding more government subsidies. That's not the right solution. How about less government regulation, fewer government regulations, and protection from cheap grain from abroad? No. Just make it cheap at home. Get rid of the regulations. Don't rely on taxpayer money to do it. Just stop the intervention in general. Stop all intervention. Subsidies are intervention that artificially inflate areas of the economy that shouldn't be making that level of profits. It's why so many corporations now have become these giant conglomerates because of the benefits of subsidies that are afforded to them, which give them unfair market advantages. Supply and demand will determine the good companies will rise, the bad companies will fall, the needed companies will rise, the unneeded companies will fall. Get rid of government intervention and farms will survive. They will do very well under free market circumstances. Let's continue. The local demands vary, but they all claim to be taking the hardest hit from the environmental reforms, and therefore they need more government subsidies to offset them. No, stop the illegal bullshit, fake premise interventions for climate. Stop that. Don't just get money to, your production's going to be dwindled down to zero. And then you're just going to be getting money and not producing anything. Free money is not helping. It's the regulations that are preventing you from producing that are the problem. Euronews reported, quote, in Romania, farmers and truckers have been clogging up main roads with their tractor and trucks for a week and a half now. They're demanding lower taxes and fairer subsidies, but so far talks with the government have failed and they're continuing to protest. They're also angry over the growing cost of insurance for heavy machinery. There you go, another racket, insurance. Just oh man. We'll continue. We'll continue. German farmers on the streets since December were joined shoulder to shoulder with the eco activists. Farmers say that they're fully supportive of environmentally friendly, genetically unmodified farming. Well, that's good, GMO free farming, but for that they do need subsidies or at least fair prices set for price setting causes negative externalities. We don't want price setting. The market dictates the price. Free, supply and demand. It's all of the intervention that causes everything to get screwed up. How many times do they have to experience this before they'll realize what it's like they're stuck in the Keynesian deficit financing, market intervention, economic model, and they don't understand the boom and the bust cycle. It's like they can't see the forest through the trees. The only reason there is the boom and the bust cycle is because of the Keynesian deficit financing, market regulation, hyper control model. Anybody who studies Austrian economics, sound money, free markets, can see right through it, and they understand the boom and the bust, and they can see why it happens. And it's because of the interventions, the market interventions. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Tammy Wilkstrom, seeing more incidents in the hospital, weird behaviors, not just nausea and vomiting, no murders. Interesting. Very interesting. Probably mixed with fentanyl. I'm not sure. And there's more alcohol issues. Yeah, that's not surprising. When there's stressful situations, people turn to alcohol. And alcohol is like inflation proof because the demand goes up when the market gets bad, basically. So that's not surprising to see, though it is as unfortunate as it is unsurprising. It sucks. Let's continue. Quote, in France, mass protests forced the government to address farmers' issues. Earlier, farms vowed to block some motorways until Prime Minister Attal heard their demands. The FNSEA has said it will decide next week whether they call for nationwide action. It sucks that they're trying to get the wrong solutions, subsidies. It's hard to, I feel sympathy for them, obviously, and people need the farmers, but they need to start going against the climate stuff, which is the inherent problem here. The farmers say that authorities' eco-transition policies make national producers uncompetitive. You think? Not only does it make farms unprofitable, it forces France to buy food products from countries where environmental standards are weaker, they claim. Yeah. It's so ridiculous. It's like if you make cannabis illegal, people are just going to grow it on their own and sell it. You regulate something, the market demands it still exists, it will exist. How long has prostitution been illegal for? And there's still a market for that. They're just going to get their products from elsewhere, legalize it. In terms of everything, basically legalize it, no matter what it is. As long as you're not violating somebody's rights, legalize it. Legalize it. Stop criminalizing cow farts. Ridiculous. Let's go to another story. Back to some interesting Nikki Haley related stuff. Steve Bannon says that what we're going to see happen next is they're going to start going through her record in South Carolina and not just her political record. Let's watch this clip. Some good commercials, really. For Patriots, good commercial. She was wasn't she banging people all over the state allegedly? Getting down and dirty, Kamala style. Ooh, pretty crazy. So it'll be interesting to see what else comes out on her. Maybe she's even being bribed to continue running, but she seems too enthusiastic. Let's jump ahead to some more fun Nikki stuff. Tricky Nikki, we're over here at the war room, the other war room, the real war room, InfoWars war room with Owen Schroyer, the intrepid Owen Schroyer, fresh off a stint at the Big House, locked up for telling people not to go in the Capitol on January 6th. Let's jump into did I freeze? Sorry, I think I'm back now at least. Let me know what you guys missed. Hey, Alicia, welcome back. There was no sound on that last clip? No way. Let me go back. All right. Let me know if you get sound.
The sovereignty of her citizens, sovereignty of her territory, the territorial integrity. No, that's about the southern border of the United States of America. That's what we care about. And right now, because a couple of things are happening, and so after New Hampshire, after a crushing defeat, Nikki Haley goes up, gives this phony victory speech, and mocks President Trump. And I hope for the people around President Trump, and there are many that have been pushing Bird Brain as VP. I hate to say it once again. Steve Bannon's right, and you're wrong. And you can see it in her full glory, the nastiness of what she came after President Trump with everything President Trump's been through. Everything he's been through. To attack him like that shows you how no class she is. And you want to know how no class she is? Well, she wants South Carolina, and trust me, they're going to go through her record in South Carolina and not just her political record.
Thanks, Alpha Boss. Yeah, so they're going to go through her record. Who knows what they'll find? It's probably some nasty stuff, I'm guessing. It's not going to be fun for Tricky Nikki. She's in a world of trouble. She's going to have some splaining to do. Let's jump over to the real war room with our hero, Owen Schroyer, who is a great commentator. Highly recommend his show, The War Room, at 3 p.m. Central on InfoWars, band.video, 4 p.m. Eastern daily, Monday through Friday. Owen Schroyer is a champ. Yeah, she pulled out the race card, Cora, saying that she was picked on for being brown as a kid. She doesn't look brown now, but she looked maybe a little more ethnic in an alleged photo that I saw of her as a kid. But you know, I'm not gonna make a claim one way or another on that one. But who's not playing the race card is Vivek or Larry Elder. People who are actually doing good work don't need to play the race card. So just the fact that she played the race card can speak for itself, and we don't have to judge what she's saying as being accurate or not, because it's not even really relevant when it comes down to it. The fact that she resorts to that shows you that she doesn't have actual arguments in other stuff. Mandy, Bo Bandy, welcome. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. We're just jumping into here. Owen Schroyer show a funny clip of Nikki being trolled at a recent event. This is a good one. Check this out, guys.
An event, and she got trolled a little bit. Last night, she got trolled. They did a little trolling here in clip 12.
Envious of his beard.
But you know what? We've got a lot on the line here. We really do. And you look at what's happening in this election.
It ain't easy being sneezy.
Yes. Are you going to vote for me?
Oh, sorry, let me rewind that.
Are you in this election? Yes. Are you going to vote for me?
Oh!
Get out of here.
Oh, it was all fun and games until he said he's voting for Trump. And she said she kicked him out. Yeah. So I guess the marriage isn't going to work out for you then, bud. But that's how it's going for Nikki Haley. So, but what's the deal here, Nikki? Why are you running a failed campaign? What is your angle? What is your agenda? You're the anti-Trump candidate. You're the Democrat running as a Republican.
There's one county in New Hampshire that was all
but
Democrats.
You won't say that
time of
because then everybody would know what the truth about your campaign is. So you just kind of pretend like, oh well, I'm just the
seconds.
You're all right. The campaign is really even in the single county in Iowa, but now the gruesome details have just emerged.
Covers
6 people voted in that county.
Yeah, all 6, Cora.
6 people voted, and they were all former Biden voters. Oh, New Hampshire. Oh, this is in New Hampshire. So then we don't even know if this is final then yet.
Yeah, it was midday.
But they're saying
the
point is
final tally. But everybody
the New York Times gets access to all 6 voters in a single New Hampshire district, and they're all Democrats. So she won a county in New Hampshire. There were 6 voters. Every single one of them a Democrat. So just so we're clear, the same thing happened in the one Iowa county that she won too. The Democrats get on a phone. They call some of their local activists and they say, hey, we need you to go out and vote for Haley. And then they go do it because the Democrats already have Biden running and there's no real race there. So there you go, Nikki. There you go. The Democrats are your constituents. Now.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And it just gets worse for Nikki as even the horrible troll creature that chairs the RNC, Romney McDaniel, urges Nikki Haley to quit the race. This is from today. It says, message from voters is the party needs to, quote, unite around our eventual nominee, Donald Trump. And, there's, at the same time, she's still taking money from other candidates like out in California that could use a boost, good candidates out there, and keeping it financing Nikki Haley as well. This is an evil person here, but it's bad when it gets to the point where even she has to be saying, Nikki, it's time to drop out. This is hilarious. while not explicitly saying she should drop out. RNC chairwoman Ronna McDaniel urged former South Carolina Governor Nikki "Tricky" Haley to drop out of the Republican presidential race. Tuesday night, turning tricks, Nikki turning tricky. Wasn't she banging her donors and stuff down in South Carolina or something, allegedly? That's basically prostitution. It's turning tricks. Tricky Nikki gives a whole nother meaning to Tricky Nikki, saying Ronna McDaniel saying she sees, quote, no math and path for Haley to win the GOP nomination over President Donald J. Trump, and that she should reflect on her candidacy. Maybe you should reflect on your existence, Ronna. McDaniel made her remarks in an interview on Fox News, saying the message from voters is the party needs to unite around our eventual nominee. Haley suffered her second straight double-digit loss to Trump in New Hampshire. It was close when we were covering it the night before, during it. 6-point difference. Glad it at least went to double digits by the end. Haley vowed Tuesday to remain in the race. She's like out there giving victory speeches, completely delusional. It's the wildest thing to watch. Hey, Natron, welcome back. Good to see you, man. So crazy. So even Ronna is saying now it's time to drop out. Meanwhile, polls show Trump edging Biden among Latino voters in blue New York. That's big. That's really, really big. Joe Biden's, this is Mike LaChance writing at Gateway Pundit. Joe Biden's intentional border crisis is going to take center stage in the 2024 election. The issue is driving voters right into Trump's arms. In New York, Trump is overtaking Biden among Latino voters, and it's largely because of the invasion taking place at the southern border. Interesting. Latino voters are typically seen as part of the Democrat coalition, and this is a blue state. New York Post reports Biden edges Biden among New York Latinos as migrant crisis rages. Poll. President Biden's popularity has plummeted so precipitously in New York that he trails former President Donald Trump among Latino voters amid the unrelenting migrant crisis. What do you like better, amid or amidst there? Let me know in chat if you're grammatically inclined. Though the Empire State would still vote blue in a 2024 matchup between the two, according to a new survey. Trump leads Biden 42 to 39% among Hispanic voters, with the remainder undecided, according to the Siena College poll released Monday. As recently as November, the incumbent Democrat led his predecessor by 27 points in the traditionally left-leaning demographic. Yeah, this is if the black vote, if the Latino vote shift to Trump, it's over. It is over for Democrats for a generation. They're going to need to completely rebuild. Quote, I would think it's very concerning for Biden, but as we know, Biden is too busy singing scat.
I'm a Scotland.
He's too busy singing scat to care about any of that. Oh my God, dude. Joe Biden is such a vegetable. The next GOP votes that award delegates are the Nevada caucus on February 8th, in which Haley is not on the ballot. She's focused on her fake primary on the 6th, which is ridiculous. And the South Carolina primary on February 24th, where Haley is trailing Trump by 40 points in a recent poll of the state conducted by Trump pollster Tony Fabrizio. What is she thinking? Does she want to be humiliated in her home state? Is that the goal here? Donald needs to up his security. Ron PM3, I agree with that. So does JJ Von Pepe. JJ Von Pepe agrees. Yeah, he showed up at a polling location randomly in New Hampshire yesterday and was just standing out there with the crowd of random people in the background. And I was just thinking, holy hell, I do not like this. I do not like this on a train. I do not like this on a plane. I do not like this on a boat. I do not like this with a goat. Trump needs to up his security 1,000%, put those billions to use, and just live in a bulletproof glass bubble or something. The boy in the bubble, Donald Trump, 2024. The boy in the bulletproof bubble, for further alliteration. Yeah, so Haley is just out of her mind. I don't know why she would be considering even going anywhere near South Carolina. And we totally changed pages here without me realizing I clicked on the wrong one. So let's go back into the into the story about New York. We're suddenly talking about Nikki Haley again. Did you guys realize that I was on the wrong story, or did I fool you as well as me? Yeah, Biden 81 beat Trump 77 by 23 percentage points in New York in 2020. This time, however, the president leads Trump by just 9 points. Uncle Trump is closing the gap. Closing the gap. It's good to see, which tracks with Biden trailing the 45th president in other battleground states. When independent candidates Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Cornel West are included, Biden and Trump's vote share drops to 41% and 32% respectively. Very interesting. Republicans should not write off New York in November. It looks like the state is in play. Yeah, baby. I like to see that. I wish Connecticut was in play. Natron 248. My worldview totally changed when the COVID hit and the global response. I knew about the UN agendas before, but when that shit hit, man, I can't even begin to break it down. Info for days. I feel you, man. It seems like that's what woke a lot of people up. Speaking of which, it's time to bail from PooTube and go Rumble exclusive. All right. We have the link posted in the YouTube chat. Look forward to all of you guys joining us on Rumble. Let's do it. Let's